And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Monday, May 1st. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Beautiful Monday morning, the first day of May. We welcome you to our program, and we welcome Don Hamlet to talk about Absolute Kubota.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
Fine. You realize that a third of 2023 has gone by.
It's almost Christmas, isn't it?
4 out of 12 months. It seems like it has just flown by.
It does. I thought April went really fast.
But here we are on May 1 and talking about Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Don is in sales, is the head salesperson, I guess. You're pretty much in charge of the sales department. Would that be a fair statement?
No. Matt Bryson is in charge of everything. I'm just an old sales guy that tries to, try to do the best I can.
Well, you do sell a lot of Kubota tractors, hay equipment, zero-turn mowers, RTVs. You've got Red Max trimmers and blowers. You've got Land Pride, Hustle, and Landmark, 3 other brands that have a connection with Kubota. I guess some of them do. Kubota owns Land Pride.
That's correct.
But all of that is waiting for you, and Don is waiting to sell it to you.
I am. We've got all those things. There's always some good deals going on. Right now, Kubota has stepped it up a little bit. I think everyone has got a little fear in the market of they're seeing what home interest rates are and fuel prices and food costs and stuff. And, Kubota is their own bank. They do their own financing. So they can offer special rates. Mm-hmm. And when you could get a BX or an L, these are different size tractors, by the way. I guess I sit here sometimes and I start spouting off all these different models, and it's kind of hard for people on the radio to know what the differences are. You could have a BX or a B, LX, L. These are just different sizes of tractors. BS being the smaller one, L being slightly larger, pretty close to the same horsepower. Right now, they have some great deals on different models. You can get up to 0% for 84 months on some of the different models. You could get an L2501.
I don't know which sounds better, 84 months or 7 years. But to me, 7 years is a long time. And that would be, of course, 84 months.
It is 84 months. It's 0% interest. None of this house loan stuff of 6, 7, 8, whatever they might be right now. 0% interest. If you wanted to pay cash, say on an L Series tractor, you could get, almost $2,000 off instantly. If you just wanted to, come in and use your own money, one of the little small BX tractors, there's one of those, they're offering $2,400 off. And there's nothing that the customer has to do. There's no paperwork to fill out. When I'm sitting there with you at my desk and I'm getting you the quote, I just put a negative $2,400 discount on one of the lines, and it just takes it off right then immediately. And it's just that much less that it costs the customer.
Well, you welcome a sale either way, obviously.
Absolutely. It does not matter to me if you want to sit down and write a check, lay cash out somewhere, or we can certainly sit there at my desk. It's real easy to get you financed. We'll just do it all there at my desk. And, it's just so easy to do. And, these deals are going through the end of the month. Today's the 1st of May. Mm-hmm. We're bringing it out today, and it goes through the end of the month, May 31st. So you've got plenty of time. It's on anything that we have in stock. Some of the models may not be in stock soon. So it's time. If you're thinking about doing something, speak with your spouse about it. Come on in, sit down. We can get you a tractor and get you some great deals and get you fixed up.
What about lawnmowers?
We have them. They're sitting there. They're also at 0% financing. You can get up to 0% for 60 months. I mean, you think that's 5 years, no interest, no need to use your money. You can purchase a lawnmower, 0 down, 0% interest for 60 months, up to.
There are a lot of people who mow yards for a living, or they do it on the side, but they're professional lawnmowers. And I bet you take care of a lot of them.
We do. And you know, they have different opportunities for different purchasing types, you know, there at our dealership. Like I said, you were mentioning earlier, we do have Hustler. That's a brand. Exmark. and then Kubota brand lawnmowers, all there in stock, fixed up, ready to go. And those are the questions, I always tell you, I always try to start, asking my customers different questions. And if you're coming in looking for a lawnmower, my first question a lot of time is how much property are you going to be taking care of? Half acre, 7 acres, 12 acres. I have some couples that I know we've sold a his and hers lawnmowers to before. They mow 15 acres a week. That's a lot of grass.
Boy.
But I'm sure it looks beautiful when they get done with it. They probably have a very beautiful place.
One of those good ones you've got, it helps them, they save some time by having that.
Absolutely, it does. I mean, you could cut 15 acres with a push mower if you wanted to, but man, why? If you have an opportunity. And this is another thing I always tell everybody. Lawnmowers are kind of like trucks. You have your small compact sizes, you have your medium sizes, and then, I don't want to use brands, and then you have your 1500s or your 150s, and then you have your 3500 sizes. And that's just the way lawnmowers are made. They just have different components in them that, make one more vigorous and one stronger and beefier than another one.
We don't have really any time left to talk about the RTVs, but you have them in stock.
Have them in stock.
Sell them as fast as you can get them, just about.
Talked to a gentleman yesterday morning when I was over at one of the Big Lot stores. I was getting some plants, and he was in there, and he stopped me, and we talked about RTV 1140. So if he's out there listening, come on in, same minute of the day, and we'll get you fixed up.
All right. Well, tell everybody your hours at Absolute Kubota.
Absolute Kubota, we're 1506 West Main, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturdays from 8 a.m. till noon.
All right. We will see you next Monday.
See you next Monday.
Have a great week of sales.
You guys too. Thanks.
All right. Don Hamlet, Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. We're 11 minutes after 7 o'clock. State Representative Susan Lynn is with us this morning, live in studio. We welcome your visit. Good morning.
Good morning. And you told me that you had a lovely anniversary last week.
Oh, yes. Anniversary was Wednesday, but...
that was my birthday.
I guess it all culminated Saturday night. My son Clark and his wife Melissa and son Cole came in and spent Friday evening and Saturday evening with us. And Saturday night, they and the other two sons who live closer, we all went out to dinner and had a very nice evening.
That is wonderful. Well, I had a wonderful birthday weekend, and it's our granddaughter's birthday, 10 years old, and then my sister-in-law's birthday. And it was my father-in-law's birthday, but he passed away a few years ago, but we still remember him. So this weekend is always a big birthday weekend, and we just had a wonderful time. The weather was beautiful, and I actually got my hands in the soil, planted a few flowers. It was wonderful.
Well, the legislature adjourned officially a week ago this past Friday night, and you got out of there, and we haven't talked to you since then. The last time you were here, we were mostly talking about some of the antics that had taken place in the House and this sort of thing, but you really got busy that last week there, and everything fell into place pretty much to adjourn, and now you're through. I guess the only thing that we're wondering about is if the governor's going to call a special session of the legislature to back for something. But well, what about that? We can talk about that now. What about that?
I personally asked the governor not to call a special session. At the last night of session, right before we adjourn until next January, the speaker picks 5 people to go tell the Senate that we're done with our work, and 5 people to go tell the governor that we're done with our work. It's a formality, and it's ceremonial, really. And so he picked me to go tell the governor, and we went down there, and we were just cutting up with the governor and talking and all that, because it's just fun. And I said to the governor, Governor, no special session. Yeah. And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, I don't know, Susan." I said, "Nope, no special session." I said, "My friend here is getting married this summer." And one of our legislators, one of the Democrats, getting married, and he's getting married in June. I said, "He cannot go to a special session. He's got a wedding. He's got to go on a honeymoon." And the governor said, "Oh, I didn't know that." So I said, and a bunch of legislators might be going to Israel in October. So, there's a lot going on. outside of this chamber. So we'll see. We'll see.
I want to go ahead and go to the break because I want to follow up with this. It's important. Susan Lynn, our state representative, is with us. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And at 7:14, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks, Absolute Kubota. Premium brands require premium parts and service. Contact Absolute Kubota's Elite Certified Service Department to schedule an appointment. 449-6171. Now in traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's really heavy now, but it's moving. 24 through the Hickory Hollow area. You got all this traffic coming in right now from Rutherford County, Murfreesboro, headed towards Nashville. It's busy, but it's moving up through Sumner County right now. Hendersonville on Vietnam Vets, pretty busy there westbound, headed towards Conference Drive. Watch for radar in parts of Wilson County up and down the interstate, and also on I-40 in parts of Dixon County, especially there around 840 and I-40. Nash Painting, they service all of Middle Tennessee. If you're considering getting your house painted, at least check with these guys first. Get a quote. Log on to nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway, across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
Coleman and Company, our Monday edition. We thank you for joining us. State Representative Susan Lynn is here. What I want to address here, there's been a lot of people wanting something to be done. They were wanting some legislation passed, but I don't think they got what they wanted there. Some of them probably are still going to be there every time until something is done. But how important is this, and how important is we all know how important, I guess most of us know that it's very important what you do. If you do the wrong thing here, if you do something just to do something and it turns out bad, then it's your fault for doing it, really.
Right. Coleman, I don't think that we need more gun laws. I'm not for red flag laws. I really think that it was, like you were saying before, very much a knee-jerk reaction. Of course it's emotional. It's terribly emotional. I was very depressed, and I still am extremely sad about the shooting that happened at the Covenant School. Who was not? But at the same time, we have to make sure that we protect the Second Amendment. Let me tell you, some constituents were going to meet with me early last week, and they were for the red flag laws. And I was actually driving on my way to meet them. And my assistant called me and he said, "Hey, so sorry, the meeting's canceled." I said, "Oh, okay, what happened?" One of the people that I was going to meet with was carjacked. And I thought to myself, I wonder if they wish they had had a gun to protect themselves. I wonder if they did. Because there are people out there who have no regard for your rights, your property, your safety, your body, there are people out there like that. There are. And honestly, having private ownership of guns in society is a deterrent. And that's what the law should do. The law should deter, protect, and then punish. And the deterrent factor, just that people won't act, they won't act to break the law because of that deterrent, is a very good thing. Because we don't want to put more people in jail. We want people to have self-control. Without self-control in society, without people saying, I am not going to do that, I'm going to obey the law, we can't have enough police to arrest them. We can't have enough jails to hold them. We can't have enough courts to try them. We depend on society obeying the law. We depend on people doing that. And that's why we need to raise our children up to respect other people's rights. It's a constitutional right. If you steal from someone, you have broken their constitutional right to their private property. If you harm someone, you have broken their constitutional right to their person, their body. And I've actually spoken in high schools before. And I've said, how many of you think of the people you know, or you, even yourselves, as someone who would break the constitutional rights for someone else. Everybody's always saying, my constitutional rights, my constitutional rights. How many of you think of it that way? Well, hardly anyone. And I said, you realize if you've ever taken property that belongs to someone else, you've broken their constitutional right to their own property. If you've ever hurt someone else, you have broken their constitutional right to live peaceably. And so, I try to illustrate that picture where it is your responsibility to make sure that you are respecting the constitutional rights of other people. And of course, the law is there to deter people from breaking your constitutional rights, from taking your constitutional rights. And if someone does, the law is going to protect you and it's going to punish them. And that's why we make law.
Okay, if something is done, if some legislation is passed, do you think it should be more regarding people with mental problems and address that? And if so, is this something that's going to be done in a week or two of a special session?
Yeah. So this, to me, what happened with the Covenant shooter and other mass shootings. In fact, if you study them, there's a whole wonderful website that these two college students put together, graduate students. All of these have had a mental illness component, medication component. So there is actually some good legislation filed. There's one piece of legislation filed about a certain class of medication that a lot of these folks seem to be on. And this certain class of medication can have side effects that will cause someone to, not really have a sense of reality, and they will commit certain crimes. So it is an interesting piece of legislation. It hasn't had a hearing. I think it ought to have a hearing. I think we need to learn about it. The legislator who has this, it's Senator Frank Nicely. He's from East Tennessee, and it's a very compelling argument. Now, Frank is for the Second Amendment all the way. But what he has noticed is that there is a certain class of medication that is, really people are kind of prone to commit crimes like this. So we need to look at things like that. I truly believe this is a sign of the poor state of mental health. And I think a lot of it has to do with food, the foods that we're eating. In fact, in my research, I know it does. It's a wonderful book called Brain Energy. It's by a professor at Harvard University. If you're anybody listening, get that book, Brain Energy. And it really details how so much of mental illness is really caused by the modern American diet. And that's something we have not explored at all.
Well, would we be better served to forget about a special session and wait until you meet again in January and address these issues? I know there are people who are wanting something done right now, but what's your opinion on that?
So I think the governor should, of course, show us his legislation, and then you have to vet it, and it takes a lot of vetting. You have to show police, you have to show judges, you have to show medical professionals, psychiatrists, all of these things, and then people, families, let everybody have a word in on it, because sometimes things that, like I said, knee-jerk reaction, you think it's going to be a good idea, it's actually just another law, and it's not going to help your problem. So we need to have time to look at any legislation, and listen, we'll look at all the legislation. People have said to me, well, will you vote for a red flag law? And I said, look, I'm not voting for any piece of legislation without reading it. I have to read the legislation. I have to talk to my local police, my judges, healthcare professionals, citizens in the community who have loved ones with mental illness, different things like that. You have to talk to everybody. You can't just, the governor gave us that piece of legislation 2 days before session ended. He gave it to us on Wednesday, afternoon, very late, and session was ending on Friday. Well, God love him. He wants to do something. I understand that. I do. But there's no way the General Assembly can get a piece of legislation on Wednesday and pass it by Friday. Absolutely no way.
Well, you feel responsible for anything you're going to vote for like that. You want to know what's in it, what you're voting for, not rubber stamp something.
Yeah.
You're not one to just rubber stamp, I take it.
No, and the worst thing to do is to change the law and you haven't done the right thing. And especially if, something like this situation, let's say we did change the law and then another tragedy occurred. Okay, well, what does that mean? Does it mean we did the wrong thing? Does it mean we didn't go far enough? Oh, we have to go further. People then are going to demand that you go further, all of that. The worst thing you can do is change the law very quickly. You have to study any piece of legislation that comes before us.
We got about 5 minutes left here. I'd like to talk about what legislation that was passed, but in particular, the budget. How do you feel about that? I think it's pretty much the same amount as the year before, but I do know there's some extra money that is provided for roads, which I don't think anybody disagrees with.
Oh, gosh,
we're happy to hear that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, so the budget is about the same amount that we spent last year, but there's far less federal money coming to Tennessee. Tennessee had an enormous budget surplus of $9 billion. So even though, it's the same amount as last year, think about how much less in federal funds that we're receiving, which is great because that means there's not strings attached to these dollars. Yes, and as for roads...
It probably means sales tax is more than the previous year to provide some of that.
Yes, Tennessee's economy is doing really well. And you'll remember when President Obama was in office, the rest of the country was really in this malaise, but Tennessee's economy was just so strong and really getting stronger and stronger. And our economy is still very strong. So we're so blessed for that we're not living in a malaise like a lot of people. Now, is inflation high? It is off the charts. I can't even believe how much groceries are. My husband and I went to the store over the weekend. A skirt steak was $24 a pound. It was shocking. So that's not good. But yes, for the roads, they're going to be fixing those potholes. So let me tell you, they're going to be fixing those potholes. We put in $3.3 billion from the general fund to the highway fund, which means an extra $3 billion for state roads, an extra $300 million for our local roads. So our locals are going to get a nice chunk of cash to fix those potholes out there. Now, there might still be potholes in parking lots. Don't hold that. I went to a store over the weekend. There was a big pothole in the parking lot. And I said, well, state funds don't patch that. That has to be a business owner.
Well, another thing you've done, we've had maybe sales tax-free weekends. We have... There's a provision here for, I think, maybe as much as 3 months of no sales tax on groceries.
That's right.
And that probably should be welcomed by everybody's got to eat. So that helps everybody.
That's right. 3 months, August, September, and October, which is really, really quite amazing. And I'm really happy that we're able to do that.
Well, anything else? Anything you're really displeased with in this budget?
I don't think so. I think the governor, he put out an original budget that was really a very good budget. He really covered a lot of bases. We'll be getting more state park land and beautiful, beautiful pieces of property that are just scenic and just beautiful that most people probably have never seen before. So if you've been to the Tennessee State Parks, well, guess what? We're going to acquire more land, and you're going to go to places that you just can't believe how beautiful this state is. So I think that's absolutely wonderful. We're also making many improvements to the parks. A lot of folks don't get a whole lot of services from the state of Tennessee. Not everybody needs the health services or the children's services and all that. So what do? You get roads, you get protection, our state police, all that, our colleges and universities. And then another thing you do get is our beautiful state parks. So I hope everybody will have a lovely summer. Go out and enjoy our beautiful state parks.
Well, one other thing too, we got down to a minute here, but you did some more for education this year too.
We sure did. We did a lot more for education, especially along the lines of safety in education. So that I'm thrilled about. And also, we have provided money for private schools so that if they want to apply for the grants, now we can't make them do this, but they can apply for grants and they can have an SRO in their schools. They can do some improvements to their schools that will make their students and faculty more safe. So really happy about that. And also more money to our public schools for safety. But then also in education, teacher raises of $125 million, more tutoring for the K through 3 children, the summer learning camps again with bus service. So with bus, if you want to send your child to a summer learning camp in June, the bus is going to pick them up and drop them off back home, which is so great. More $18 million for pre-K special education needs. And then also $15 million to maintain local budget levels. You know, we have our TISA and all of that to provide paid family leave for teachers, 6 weeks of paid family leave for teachers. Let's say you're a teacher and you're having a baby or something like that. You can have 6 weeks of paid family leave, which is quite remarkable.
Well, thanks so much for being with us today. Really enjoyed your visit, and I guess this is it, unless there's a special reason. If there's a special session, we'll have you back. If there's something we really need to discuss, I know you'll be available, and we'll have you. Otherwise, it might be January before we see you.
No, I'll see you at the fair.
All right.
See you at the fair.
Yeah. State Representative Susan Lynn, and that's part one of Coleman and Company. We hope you'll keep it here for more. FM 98.9.
And at 7:31, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Bates Ford, and they've got a battery installed in most vehicles. $134.95. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Several accidents out here in the last few minutes. Right now, we're watching traffic slow down up through the Antioch area on 24 westbound coming in from Rutherford County. Watch for radar down I-40 in parts of Smith County and definitely in the Mount Juliet area this morning. They've been out there it seems like since early this morning. Prince's Hot Chicken, they're catering. They got 2 locations. Check out their menu today. You can even order online at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
A bit chilly out there if you're up early for this first day of May. Temperatures climbing through the 50s first thing, and we will be looking for a high of 64 this afternoon. Skies stay partly cloudy, but no rain chances to worry about. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number 1 Ned.
Company, thanks for joining us. Welcome to part 2 here on a Monday morning. Beautiful day going for us. And we welcome Billy Mullinax, General Manager for Mount Juliet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Mount Juliet. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you doing?
I am doing well, and it's we're starting the month of May today.
Yes, hard to believe.
And we have to be careful how we say May Day around here. What's that? International Distress Signal, I think, something like that. Anyway, you don't. You're careful how you say that.
Okay. Well, let's just say it's May the 1st.
It
Coleman.
is May the 1st.
May the 1st.
We not only welcome you, we welcome all our listeners this morning, and we do want to talk about those Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams at 600 Pleasant Grove Road in Mount Juliet.
Well, that's right, Coleman, and we've been talking about a little better inventory, and we continue to grow just a little bit. We're a little over 100 in new car inventory now. So if you've been putting off looking or shopping because you just can't find what you're looking for, we've got a little better selection now. So it might be a good time just to check us out again and see if we've got what you're looking for.
Well, how was your April? It ended Saturday, and
It was a good month, Coleman. April is never one of your best months, but it was a good month. I think it's because people are paying taxes, maybe. That's what I've always thought. Don't know that, but that's just what I've always thought.
well, we got an extra day in May. May does have 31 days.
That's right. That's exactly
and
right.
We're looking forward to warmer weather too.
Well, that's right, and we started off beautiful, that's for sure. So May typically we really start. You can kind of get your garden planted in in May as a general rule. You're not going to have any frost normally.
Right. Yep. Well, we do invite everybody each week. We remind you, see that entire inventory of new and pre-owned cars at mountjulietcdjr.com.
I see your neighbor there, Coleman.
Yes. Well, one thing's for sure, you don't hide anything. You've got it all out there.
Yep.
You've got the price that you're asking
That's
for
right.
each particular vehicle, and you've got them all shown there. And you can go there and see the whole thing. And you don't have to leave any personal information if you don't want to.
That's right. That's exactly right, Coleman. And so many this day and time, and it's not just automotive. If you shop for a lot of different things on the internet, before you can find out anything, you have to leave your information there. And I understand why they do it. I just don't like the way they do it. and we don't do that. We give you the option to let us know you were there, as far as your name and phone number, email address, and we can contact you. Or if you don't want anybody to contact you, you don't have to. You just go there and shop and look, and we'll never know who you were.
Well, you really have a lot going for you at Mount Juliet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. You, of course, are the general manager, but it's a location that was Rocky Williams. I think most people around here know
That's
that.
right.
New people probably don't, and it doesn't matter. Other than the fact that you've got a number of years' experience and had a great relationship with Rocky, and you've kind of taken over where he sold out and went to sit on the shade tree or whatever.
Well, and that's what he's doing, Coleman. He's doing good though. But yeah, Rocky and I had a great relationship, and I've got a great relationship started with the two gentlemen that bought this from Rocky. They are wonderful people, and we're looking forward to a lot of really good years ahead together.
We are a growing area. We are really a growing area. We have been, and we still are. And Mount Juliet may be at the height of it all. I don't know. But people moving in here from everywhere. So hopefully you're getting your share of those.
Well, and it is a busy place down there, Coleman. And I was on the hard side of Mount Juliet the other day, as you and I say, and the south side is just, boy, it is busy over there, Coleman, and we are on the north side, or the easy side of Mount Juliet, so it's a little easier to get to when you get off the interstate there.
Right, and if you're remotely familiar with the geography of Mount Juliet, you're over there by Walmart and by
Academy Sports.
And those two are two of your neighbors there.
That's exactly right, Coleman. And then we also just had a new Cadillac dealership, Andrews Cadillac, open up right next door to us, and we've got a good relationship with them. They're really good people, and we're glad they're there because, the more things that you get in an area, Coleman, the more traffic that's going to create. So it will only help both of us.
I remember years ago when I started in sales at the radio station here, and one of the clients I called on, he told me I'd rather have a competitor next door to me than across town.
That's right.
Because if they come over here, if they don't sell them, maybe I will, or maybe they'll come here first, whatever. But,
well, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's right. A lot of truth in that statement.
Well,
Coleman.
I think it's classy of you to welcome them, and I understand that you even put up a banner, something welcoming them when they opened up.
We did when they did their groundbreaking. we put up a Welcome Andrews Cadillac banner because they are really good people, Coleman. We've got, like I said, a great relationship with them, and it's good to have somebody there that you can lean on if you need to a little bit for something, and then the same thing for them with us.
Yeah. Right. Well, we're all here trying to make a living and keep our heads above the water financially, and maybe a whole lot above.
That's exactly right.
But things seem to be looking up, and especially with the selection that you have anymore.
Yeah, it's getting like I said, a little more plentiful, Coleman, and we've got about 150 pre-owned vehicles. So we've got about over 250 total right now, which is just phenomenal because, we've been through some really tough inventory times. And so it's encouraging to see that selection come back to where, during this tough time, people a lot of times had to settle for a vehicle that they may not have been that particular color or that particular trim but now it's getting a little better to where you can get what you're looking for.
All right. Well, remind everybody your sales department is open Monday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yep.
That's 6 days a week. And Billy Mullinax, General Manager, thank you for being with us. We'll do it again next Monday.
We'll see you next Monday.
All right. Mount Juliet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 600 Pleasant Grove Road in Mount Juliet. We are 20 before the hour, and this is the Monday that we welcome the Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Robert Bryan is not with us this morning, but we do have Captain Scott Moore here. And Scott Moore, good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here this morning.
Well, we're glad to see you, and I know that you're always busy. You have a number of responsibilities. You are, first of all, Public Information Officer for the Sheriff's Department, which is pretty much a big job in itself. I think you are still over the school resource officers, or either the person that is in charge of them answers to you. So that's another big responsibility. Plus, you've been there a good while, so anything that the sheriff says, maybe I need a good person to do this, it probably falls on your shoulders from time to time.
That's correct. Do have a lot of responsibilities, but I love each and every day. I mean, some days are busier than others, and just the fact that he's got the trust to put me in that position to do those things is, I'm very grateful for that. And anything I can do to take anything off his shoulders is what I want to do, because he's a busy man.
Yeah, and there's the sheriff is responsible for so many things. I mean, even that jail is a big responsibility, and I think in Robert's favor, Robert Bryan, the sheriff, his favor, he worked there for a good while and ran it, so he knows all about that and knows it's not like somebody that gets elected sheriff and hasn't had any experience there. So that's in your favor. By the way, I think you're gradually getting into the new building, aren't you?
We are. I think there was just one component that needed to be put in the jail before we open it up, and I think that we're right on the heels of it opening up. So everything's looking good, on track, and looking forward to making that transition.
Well, one of the good things about all this too, several of you, the sheriff and you, I think, were there whenever you had the last expansion. So it's you always learn from experience.
It is. You want to make sure everything security-wise is in place, and everything is passed as far as that goes. And whenever you make the transition again, you're involving hundreds of inmates, and then you have to have the employees to have the manpower to run the jail effectively. So it's a big project that has undergone, and Sheriff Bryan and the administration and the county commission, just the support that we've had behind it to put it in place is just unbelievable with the support.
Well, I don't think you've been here since we had the shooting at the Covenant School, and I think we talked about that with the sheriff last time. But anytime we have something like that, if you are a school resource officer or you are responsible for them as you are, it's not a good day, and you pay closer attention to that probably than even the average citizen does. You wonder about a lot of things.
That's something that we always hate to hear is any kind of shooting, especially school shooting, and especially when it happens just miles down the road. And it's something that really puts things in perspective. And we had a school safety meeting a couple weeks ago where we had representatives from every law enforcement agency. We had both directors of schools there in the meeting. And, you know, we have a good thing going here in Wilson County, but there's always room for improvement. So it was basically a school safety meeting to pull everyone together to you know, talk about things and see, you know, where there needs to be improvement, and just make sure that the right hand knows what the left hand's doing.
Yeah.
And but you know, you look at the Covenant shooting, and you know, Metro Police Department, when they responded, I thought done an outstanding job with their training, utilizing the training that they had went through. And you know, it's just something that you pray for. Never happens, but you cannot fully prevent anything from happening.
Well, one of the things that we've heard about is some bulletproof glass doors, and I don't know about windows, but doors, and the legislature has provided some money, I believe, to help enhance safety. Talk about that a moment, if you will.
Yes, the governor, I think, recommended for $140 million to be used for school safety. And, you know, there's a lot of schools out there in Tennessee, especially in rural areas, that do not have a school resource officer. So hopefully this, you know, these monies that are going to every school in the state, public and private, will be able to provide funding for the school resource officers, and or for the schools to have one. And then you have resources, you know, what you just talked about. You know, there's some school systems talking about metal detectors, things of that nature. So, you know, you hate that you have to put all those in place, but in today's society, it's something that's a must to ensure the safety of each student at every school.
All right, before we go to a break here, you have a great uncle who listens to us, I think, just about all the time. His name is Hamlet Halbert. I've probably known him longer than you have, because I think he was in the 8th grade when I was in the 1st grade at Taylorsville School. But we want to say hello to him this morning.
Absolutely. Uncle Hamlet, I tell you what, when you look at the world today, Hamlet is what is good in this world. And, you know, if we had more people like him, then we would live in a great place.
Well, I'll say amen to that. Let's take our break here. Captain Scott Moore of the Sheriff's Department with us on Coleman Company, FM 98.9.
And at 7:46, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Absolute Kubota. Premium brands require premium parts and service. Contact Absolute Kubota's Elite Certified Service Department to schedule an appointment. 449-6171. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's busy. We would expect this time of the morning on 24 westbound through Antioch right now, with all that heavy traffic still coming in from Murfreesboro, Rutherford County towards Nashville. Watch for some radar. I-40 in parts of Mount Juliet this morning. Still busy through Sumner County, but at least it's moving on Vietnam Vets right now as you come through Hendersonville. Hey, Nash Painting, they service all of Middle Tennessee. If you're considering getting your house painted soon, at least check with these guys first. Get a quote, nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup features performance-matched attachments to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/offers for full disclaimer.
Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon.
Attention Cumberland baseball fans. The postseason is here, and the Cumberland Phoenix, ranked number 23rd in the nation and seeded 2nd in the Mid-South Conference Tournament, will begin the tournament Thursday, May 4th at 3:30 against Georgetown, and will play every day after that as long as they last through Sunday the 7th. Hear all the action on WANT FM 98.9 or WCOR AM 1490 or WANTFM.com or GoCumberlandAthletics.com. It's postseason baseball. Go Phoenix!
Coleman and Company, again, we thank you for joining us. Captain Scott Morris with us. We've talked about a number of things, but there's always a lot to talk about when the Sheriff's Department is concerned. We continue to grow. Is that a part of your conversation from time to time? And we see all of these apartment complexes that are being built, and we think of how many more cars, I do, are going to be on the road. And it stands to reason a certain percentage of your population is going to, a certain percent of them is going to be in jail, a certain percent of them are going to violate the law. And the more people you have, that means the more citations or arrests or whatever are going to be made. That's got to play into your thinking and planning.
You know, when you have more people, you're going to have more problems. And the growth, we all know in the Mount Judd area, Lebanon area, Gladeville area, it's just booming right now, and it's going to continue to grow. And when every time that you build a new school, it's that backs up the growth that's occurring in Wilson County. So, but yes, with that comes more arrests, more problems that you have to respond to, which, we have to have manpower, every time that there's growth, and we have to have growth within the sheriff's office with manpower to deal with that growth and those problems. So, neighboring right next to Davidson County, it just keeps on pushing out, and it continues to go east. So, it's definitely a lot of issues to deal with.
Oh, I don't know how much you have to do with the budget, but budget time is approaching, and I imagine a lot of the different departments are already preparing their budgets, because the county commission will get on this pretty soon and probably pass a budget in June. They usually do now. Are you involved in that?
I am, as far as the school resource officer aspect of it, and go to the sheriff and administration each year with needs assessments, that we have within our division. So that's probably the extent of it. And again, with the new funding that's coming down from the governor, we're looking hopefully to, have some additions to the school resource officer program. That way we can, and again, I've said this before, and I know Sheriff Bryan has said it, but we were the first in the state of Tennessee to have a school resource officer in every public school. So we want to continue to grow on that. And again, with the growth that we've got within the county, we're going to, continue to add more SROs within our division to keep up with the growth.
Well, every law enforcement officer is probably not necessarily a good candidate to be an SRO. So you do have to be careful who you put there, don't you? So first of all, somebody that can identify pretty well with the students themselves.
Sure, you have to have the love to work with children, and we have 3 different levels.
And even in high school, they're still children.
That's correct.
Now that would have irritated me a little bit when I was 17 to hear somebody say that, but it's true.
You could take a high school SRO right now that wouldn't want to work in elementary school because they have a better rapport with older children, and you just can't take a patrol officer off the street and put them in school again if they don't have that love to patience to work with children. So it definitely take whenever we sit down and interview people, we want to make sure that they have the necessary components to be able to successfully be good in a school as a school resource officer, because you have anywhere from 1,000 students to 2,000 students here in Wilson County. Plus, you have over 100 staff members just about every school. So it's very important that you have good social skills and to be able to work with everybody.
All right, this may put you on the spot just a little bit, but I'm wondering about some of the private schools. Representative Lynn has mentioned it. The other legislators have that there is a means in the budget here for them. They're not appropriating money for school resources for private schools, but they're going to be able to get a grant if they want it. And if they ask you, the private school principal, headmaster, whatever, should we have a school resource officer? We're a private school. Should we take advantage of this grant and have one? What would be your answer?
We've actually been in communication with our private schools, and I know Sheriff had been to Friendship Christian. I have visited Mount Judd Christian, talked to them. They actually have armed security there at the school. And basically, we met with them to let them know, as far as training, any resources they need. visibility by us, that we would work hand in hand with those private schools to make sure that they feel safe. So we've had good communication with their security and administration. We'll continue to have that healthy working relationship.
Okay, there's been demonstrations. There've been people who are wanting something done. Others say we don't need more gun laws, but we do need to be more aware of mental illness and that sort of thing. Where do you and the sheriff and the sheriff's department, where do y'all come down on this? I mean, we know what the Second Amendment says. And it would just be wonderful if everybody would use those guns like they're supposed to, but they don't. So what do you say?
Right. As far as Second Amendment, I mean, the right to bear arms, and you have to basically, like you said, a lot of times it ruins a lot of it for the people who are responsible with guns. But regardless whether you continue on as is or they try to take guns away from everyone, you're still not going to take the guns away from the bad people who's got them right now, is the way I look at it. And mental illness is so prevalent out in our society. It's all the way in our schools to every aspect, that's out in the country. And you look at our jail population. There's a lot of good people in there that made bad mistakes, and then there's people in there that's made very, bad mistakes that are, evil people. Yeah. And but there's a lot of mental illness that has came into play, and a lot of those arrests, and there's a high percentage of our society who battle mental illness, and there's people out there that may not recognize that they have a mental illness when they do. So. I know that when we went through the COVID, year and go through that time period, that I think it affected everybody because it actually took you away from what you normally were used to doing, and you had to, change some things up. But mentally, it still affected you. So I think mental illness can affect anybody, but there's a lot of people out there that, when you look at the school shootings and things like that. Where it plays probably the biggest role.
Well, this has to be, I would think, especially with your patrolmen, the people who are out here being called to situations, you always wonder the mental state of mind, somebody that you're going to have to deal with. And if they are out of it that day, you don't know what they're going to do. You have to be prepared. I mean, you're trying to protect yourself at the same time, take care of the situation.
You do, and you have to go in your mind before you go to a call. Kind of go through several scenarios in your head of how you're going to approach. What our communications division, our dispatchers, they are so important when it comes to the safety of each officer and the information that they get from each call that comes in with stuff like, if they do have a mental illness, what's their background, the history of it, to each residence that they go to and things like that. It's so important to feed our patrol officers. That way they can kind of plan in their mind how they're going to handle it when they get there. And again, you can go over every scenario and you still don't know until you get there how you're going to deal with it, but you got to be mentally prepared.
Yeah, and another thing that's involved in all this, a lot of times the drug thing, which you alluded to a little bit ago, but if somebody's strung out on something, they're not in their right frame of mind, so you don't know what they're going to do. They may have been okay when they're not on that, but they're a different person.
Right, they're a different person. It alters your mind, alters everything that's in your body. And I remember one of the toughest fight I ever had was when I was a corrections officer my first year, and there was a female that came in that was about 5'2", and she was strung out on drugs, and it was probably the toughest fight I ever had. You wouldn't think that being my size that it would have went that way, but you just you don't know. They a lot of them when they're on drugs don't have pain tolerance and things like that, and they're out of their mind, and it can be a very dangerous and scary situation for anybody that his interaction with them.
Well, you don't look scarred up. Evidently, you came out of that one okay.
I did. Thank goodness.
But it is something that's and it's in the back of your mind all the time. What you're going to be dealing with in a particular day, you don't know, and unfortunately, it seems to be with more people here. It's getting worse. Yeah.
It is, and mental illness does not discriminate. It can happen to anybody from people who were raised in great families, all demographics. It can affect anybody.
Right. Well, is there something positive we can end on this morning? We got a minute and a half here. You hiring right now, by the way?
We are in our corrections. I put it out about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago that we're hiring, and so we're always looking for people coming in and
a few good men and women.
That's exactly right. Looking for a law enforcement career or who wants to continue their law enforcement career. So
what's your summer look like? We all enjoy the warm weather.
Well, I'm going to be busy. Hopefully, I can get out for a week or so and travel a little bit. But I know as far as here at the sheriff's office, we actually got an anti-bullying camp that's coming up June 5th through the 7th. It's called Camp Victory. Anybody who's interested can email me. It's for 5th through 8th grade. And I put it out the other day, and applications are flying in. So we're looking forward to that, and it's always a good time.
Well, that's a good way for the whole sheriff's department to put their best foot forward.
That's exactly
impress
right.
These younger people and teach them to obey the law.
That's exactly right.
Scott, thank you so much for being with us today. Always enjoy your visit. Appreciate the good things you're doing. Captain Scott Moore, Public Information Officer for the Sheriff's Department. I guess we'll say substituting for Sheriff Robert Bryan this morning. Thank you and have a good one.
Thank you for having me.
All right, join us tomorrow for Coleman and Company. Till then, I wish you a magnificent day.